What words can I describe Phantasy Star Online? As this game was originally a Dreamcast exclusive, so to be fair, this was an online game, which was heavily marketed to be an online game. But look, don't let the online word fool you, as there is an offline mode for you guys to play if you really want to. You guys can get this on a Dreamcast along with this updated version, which actually came out sometime afterwards, where it has like newer content. And if you guys were to have the original save data from the original first version, you can transfer it over to your second version. You know, that's the thing about the game. This game has a huge cult following, and there's plenty of servers that people still play on this thing to this very day. The game was ported over to Windows, but only in Japan, but it did get a Gamecube release and an original Xbox. The thing about the Gamecube and the original Xbox versions is that those versions actually have 4-player local play, so you could say they're superior to the Dreamcast version, but the Gamecube version, however, it actually has a extra episode attached to it, same with the original Xbox. Plus, there's actually a Plus version on the Gamecube, which is very rare and expensive. All they did was like add an online quest to be offline, so you could play on there. But the Xbox version, it uses support of voice chat, but I don't recommend the Xbox version if you guys don't have a gamertag on your Xbox original console, because you're gonna need that if you want to play it. But it's cheap, but again, you're not gonna get anywhere unless you don't have a gamertag. Even if there is an offline mode, it's deemed unplayable. So if you guys don't want to risk of getting yourself a gamertag or whatever, or somehow you can't, just get the Dreamcast or GameCube version, but that's if you want to play the episode 2 for the GameCube. So this was actually made by Sonic Team, believe it or not, and Sega wanted them to make an online game. It's an RPG game where you go around, slay monsters, and you go to the next places, and you kill these giant monster bosses, and then they're done. You know, a lot of people seem to give credit to this game, as it actually was one of the games that influenced Monster Hunter to become a thing, and I can see where they're all coming from. And look, it's like I said before, you can play these games still. You need to do them through like different types of methods, but all these online stuff is scheduled, so you don't have to worry. The GameCube also works with some sort of way too. Xbox, that's like a different story, but still. The GameCube version, it's supposed to have like more new characters, environments, and other features. There's an episode 3, but I can't cover that, as yeah, the graphics are identical, but the thing is, it's a complete different game, and it's all like card based, which whenever I get the time and chance to play episode 3, I'll just talk about it. I haven't played episode 2, which I'll talk about that in a separate video, as I want to talk about episode 1, so that's what we're here to talk about. I've always seen people talk about episode 1 rather than any other episode, so I'll talk about episode 1, and then once I get around to doing episode 2, I'll make a separate video on that one. So here we go. Okay, so you select your character to any kind of class you want, like you be a mage or maybe some sort of hunter role, like you can use a sword or a gun. So you go around killing monsters, and that's it. Grinding in the game is a pain in the butt, but I can see where they're coming from, because this was meant to be an online game, so I can't really say nothing negative about that. This is actually somewhat one of the more expensive games you can find, but also the cheapest, considering like if you get the disc only, it's way cheaper, and I was able to get this pretty good for a pretty good price. So you go around, you can get some armor stuff, some health potions, whatever. You can learn magic too. You don't have to be a mage to learn magic. You can use those magical abilities to heal or summon lightning, whatever. It can actually come in handy for certain enemies too in the game. Oh yeah, I should also probably mention this too. The GameCube, yes, it has online, believe it or not. Well, in terms of the GameCube, there isn't really much to offer in terms of online games, because I guess I heard that Nintendo claims that nobody wants online gaming, when that was completely false. They had this weird GameCube controller where it's a regular controller, but it's just a keyboard attached to it. Yeah, it's one of the strangest, but it was just used for like text chatting, so You can just use it for like text chat. You don't have to really use it to play. Just type in the keyboard and you're all set. Same thing with Dreamcast. You're gonna need to use a keyboard if you want to like talk. It's like the best way to do it. But again, mouse and keyboard for Dreamcast can be a bit expensive. So they usually do dial-up stuff. There is LAN support, or like, you know, broadband support for like Dreamcast and Gamecube. So that's to it right there. But Dreamcast doesn't have that much broadband support because it came out like a little late, you can say. Because dial-up was like the only way to do it, and most games supported that. Broadband was like the last thing they actually did, and it's quite rare and expensive. So look, not many games support the whole thing, so it's just best just to keep the dial-up thing where it's all like built into the Dreamcast to begin with, which that's what you're going to be needing anyway. Outside of network capabilities, you can just play it by yourself if you really want to. But what's more interesting about the GameCube and the Dreamcast version is that they both share the same server. So except for the original Xbox, which Xbox Live, which you can see why I'm saying this. But I've heard that you can actually play both the Dreamcast and GameCube connectively to each other, because I think that was what the Sega servers were. But a lot of people really would like to play this game, and plus, you have your own like exclusive online quests and challenges mode and some items and whatever you can say. But again, getting the Plus version, you can play the online quest offline. But look, if you don't want to waste like $300 or $400 just for the Plus version, I think it's just cheaper to get the original version. Just a heads up. Sega actually brought the game to the GameCube because the system actually had a similar architecture as the Dreamcast, so it actually makes sense. Considering we have seen some Dreamcast games brought over to the GameCube, I've heard there was like a 4th episode, but I guess you can't even play it or anything because it was like an online thing. But that's all I can say. I don't know nothing about episode 4. All I know is like it was like online only or something. I don't know too much about that, so forgive me. The game also has this bank where I highly recommend you put your money in there, because if you die, you lose all your money or whatever. Well, you don't technically lose everything when you die. Well, kind of. Well, just your equipped weapons, basically. Or at least your money and whatever, too. Because it's a pain in the butt to fight some of these enemies. Plus, if you really need to, you can use this teleporter thing where you can go back to the place, and then you can go back to where you just were, so you have to start over. Don't have to start over again. But look, make some deposits of your money, so that way you can actually like keep them, and that way you don't have to lose all that stuff. Because you'll need it to like buy a whole bunch of things, which can actually help you out. To me, I think it's like one of the slower paces online games, but it's not bad. And it's not repetitive either. But yeah, you go around destroying these enemies, and you're just hoping to level up, but the grinding is just terrible. But again, like I was saying, it's meant to be an online game, so I can see why they were pushing it to be like that. Now, look, in order to advance to the other level, you need to find these statue things or whatever in each level. Activate those 3, you get to the 4th level, and then you're good. I'd say there's plenty to do, and there's still people still playing this game to this very day. Especially if you own the Dreamcast, which I recommend it. Just get the version 2, because that's where you get all the updated stuff. There was also, believe it or not, Dreamcast actually had DLC. I don't think it was paid, but all you get is like, you get some extra content to download on your memory card, which is where it's saved. Yeah, that's where you save it. You save it on your memory card. Some might have some levels or costumes to offer. Some other ones are just like whatever. They had like this Sega.net stuff, which I should mention, which was an online subscription stuff before Xbox became a thing, which a lot of people seem to give Xbox credit for online subscriptions when, you know, Sega did it first, which is something people don't have always overlooked, as I feel. So the thing is, I just want to warn you guys about version 2. They have you register this little code It's like a registry code thingy, you can say. But my package didn't come with one. So I had to search online for a key, and I put it in there and it's all set. Don't worry about the GameCube version, it doesn't have that. I've heard, I don't think version 1 has any of that stuff, but I can't say for work because I don't own the first version, nor have I played the first version. That's just me though. You go around these little dungeons, you can say, you can like destroy these enemies with swords and magic or whatever. Do whatever you want. But just to let you guys know, there's like a few different things in the game. Like there's places where you can be too dark, you can't see. Or there'll be switches you'll need to activate so you can progress through these dungeons. Or you also need to watch out for these traps. It's a game that I would say had a huge impact, but also its liability in terms of online wasn't really that long, because the Dreamcast version discontinued within a few years after it launched, because let's just say the system got destroyed by the PS2 of all things. But again, I did say it did get a GameCube release, which adds in content. The Xbox version even helped out more too, in terms of like online, but everything was shut down until the private servers were just made within like the all these years. People are still playing to this very day, so it's like what I would just do when it comes to playing online is look at the schedule and then join at that specific time. You can play online with other people. You may not be able to play with other people because of your certain levels, but once you keep building up, then you can do anything you want to. There's also like sequels and spin-offs for these Phantasy Star Online. Like there was Phantasy Star Universe, which came out on Xbox 360 and PS2, and it would get itself an expansion pack. And then we would get another game called Phantasy Star Online 2, which is free, by the way, which you can play on Xbox and PC. And then most recent, it actually came to the PS4 of all things. It's on Switch, but only in Japan, as I should mention real quick. But I think it's on the cloud version. I mean, I like both of those games, but I'm sure everyone, including myself, just preferred the first game. I do think a lot of people to this day just remembers like this is one of the best online games, or at least the best online experience that these people have ever gotten. It's like, look, it's just like the local play, like I said, up to 4 players. Online's up to 4 players. Like text chat's a thing, and look, even if you do play offline, there's no pausing the game. So I just want to warn you guys ahead of time. So if you need to do something, you better find a safe place, you know? Because otherwise, I can't really help you out there. So look, you're going to have a fun time playing this game, or maybe you'll have frustrating time playing the game. But I think at a certain point in the game, like certain enemies, you just need to come up with some sort of strategy, like light hitting or hard hitting these enemies, or like these heavy attacks, you know? So you can find like these items you can do, or learn some techniques, and just keep practicing until you actually get the hang of the game, and then you'll be able to complete these dungeons with no problems. Or also trying to grind levels so you can actually beat certain levels of the game, so that way you can progress through it. But I think that's about it, all I can really say about this game. There's still people still playing this game to this very day, so if you follow up the schedule, you shouldn't have any problem like finding people. But you're gonna have to find your own way to set up online for Dreamcast and GameCube. But look, GameCube has like this online adapter that you need to get in order to play it, and not too many games, or at least just rarely any games, just support it. I think there was at least like what, 2 or 3 of them, but Phantasy Star Online will always come to mind, and that's pretty much it. But I think when it came to Phantasy Star Online, I think all of you guys will enjoy playing it up to like 4 players, either locally or online, depending on which platform you prefer.